Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Well, hello there and welcome back again.
Welcome back. We did the first one talking about massive naval prepositioning underway. Yeah, absolutely. Also, again, the inflow of people coming over southern and northern border into the U.S. Increasing as always. Drugs as a weapon of war going back to a long time ago. Absolutely. There's nothing new under the sun. There truly isn't. We could go back to biblical times. I was just starting to think about that, and I was thinking about all these different incidents I could put up that, was taken as a act of God, but it's the same acts we see right now. Act of God, act of technology, your choice, your interpretation, and ours. Hope you guys are subscribed to all three channels. Again, there's little links over here. See over on this side, right over here. You can quick link to all three channels from here, as well as Ko-Fi and Patreon. And again, for those that have had appointments with us, still working with us, or future are going to make appointments, we use Ko-Fi, and the link is right here to basically go ahead and do your donations for services. China modified the weather as Communist Party marks centenary in Beijing. This was from 2021. Again, and there was another article that linked to this one that was talking about the fact that China admitted they controlled their weather last summer. When we see everything that's going on, it's hard to take it seriously when you realize the technology that is in play can affect everything we see. Everything.
Well, I'm looking at the technology and the mind games that they're playing too. Ever since we had a really wonderful talk with a family member just recently, and the colors yellow and red came up. So I thought I would pull up some other things that companies use with the colors yellow and red, and there's an astonishing amount in the United States that use those yellow and red colors. It bothers me.
Oh yeah, and we'll do another video because we've had a great discussion with our good family member friend Gwen and her hubby John. Hi Gwen and John, we love you guys. And I think there's another topic that needs its own its own video. Again, there's so many things that are constantly interconnecting here, and we just got to get people to wake up and see it. And again, 99.9% of the people watching this will be the same people day in and day out. So I know you guys know. Please do share with those that are still walking zombies in the system, that don't understand that they are being controlled completely, just as the weather is being controlled. U.S. military to control the weather around the world by 2025. Isn't that curious? Now this is from May 24th of 2023. Yeah, they've been planning this for decades. And it's really nothing new. The weather has been controlled by beings for thousands of years. That's the big reveal. The big reveal is, again, why would the power structure on the planet just so obviously be destroying and pillaging the planet? It's because the true power structure is not from the planet. And the planet is just one little resource to be used and abused and discarded. That makes sense, does it not? It certainly makes sense. 2025, we were talking yesterday, I think it was, about the DEAGEL numbers or GLE numbers. And what was that forecast for? 2025. We keep seeing all these numbers, these years, with agendas tied to them. Agenda 2021. Well, what happened in 2021? The world changed, right? I mean, it totally changed forever. 2025 is another marker. The world will be totally different than it is even right now. 2030 is another marker. That's really like the Great Divide. I think that's the real deep Great Divide right there, 2030. That's where people are either you're in the system or you're out of the system for the most part. There will be people trying to straddle both. But it's right here. U.S. military to control the weather around the world by 2025. China says they control their weather now. So I want to do that first, and let's look at what's going on.
Yes.
Because maybe we'll look at it in an all new light. Though again, thank you guys for being part of this family. Near record warm Atlantic is a worry as hurricane season begins. Yeah, I've felt like this is going to be a tougher one, a little bit more challenging this year, as we already have tropical depression number 2 forming. It's June, so it is time. And, again, at the same time, there's technologies that even if it wasn't time, it's time when they think it's time.
Exactly. They have these things, these scripts, they're already played out, and they know what's going to happen. And that's why we really need to do our best to be prepared as much as we can, because no, things are not going to they're not going to stay nice and neat and tidy for the duration of forever. They are going to upset the apple cart, and those that are grounded and are able to live some more off the earth, they're going to have a little easier time, I feel.
So yeah, I think it's going to be a tough year as far as the storms go. Tropical Depression 2 has formed northeast Gulf of Mexico, is forecast to strengthen slightly into a tropical storm. Historically, about 60% of June named storms form in the Gulf of Mexico. As overall the Gulf is really not that deep. That's part of the reason why. So it does warm up nicely, and here we see the track. So again, maybe we're gonna have already named storm impacts somewhere from the panhandle of Florida, perhaps even as far as eastern Texas. We got to watch. Again, steering is obviously in the mix with you guys understanding. I know you understand. Texas highway was hit with severe flash flooding due to heavy rainfall washing away vehicles, leaving some roads closed along the Texas panhandle. As again, we've seen, you either got nothing or you got too much. There's no nice middle ground. There's no Goldilocks zone anymore. Where's that Goldilocks zone?
No, the Goldilocks zone is not, part of their agenda.
No, absolutely. Sure, this is very, very dangerous. And again, Cindy can tell you, you're looking at Amarillo, Texas. Cindy can tell you how it is when you're in a little bit drier area, like Death Valley, and then you get torrential rains. Absolutely problematic.
Right. Well, it's like the water hits pavement. It hits cement because it doesn't know to soak into the ground, because the ground is not made to absorb. It's just made to, run along the top, and that can cause all kinds of problematic situations everywhere, and for a long time too.
Absolutely. In Cindy's mom's garden, I mean, when you go to garden and plant something, you got to get a jackhammer. I mean, seriously, you got to get a jackhammer. It's rock. And so, this leads to this type of condition. And this is Ankara. This is in Turkey, as you see. Again, this is global. We have massive floods going on globally. We have had since 2017. It really is when everything seemed to ratchet up. So, by that mix, if we did start to go into the quote-unquote Great Tribulation, everybody has their own thoughts on all this, in 2017, then here we are, year 6. Interesting times. Now, these are prisoners in Ecuador. This is the courtyard of a prison. But, hey, when life throws you this much water, the water looks kind of clean. Might as well go have fun, not right? I mean, might as well turn it into a pool. Why not? Looks like a nice pool.
Looks like they're doing really, really good where they're at, learning a lot of good life lessons. When life does get yucky, find the silver lining.
Yeah, they're enjoying themselves, splashing around, and then they'll probably be all rounded up and sent over our border into the U.S.
Yikes.
This is what's, part of that bigger picture. Meanwhile, Arizona announces limits on construction in Phoenix as groundwater disappears. Yeah, they know, even without any new people coming to this area, and this is one of the fastest growing areas in the country. But when you look really between Phoenix and Vegas, it's a ticking time bomb for more than one reason. And one of those reasons is, water to support all the people. The other thing is it's really not livable if we don't have a grid functioning. And I do think it's very likely we are going to see the grid go down within the next year or maybe 18 months. And it might be prolonged. What happens if it goes down? The time of the year is going to depend on where you're at as far as how hard it's going to impact you. If you're in a colder zone and it goes down, say around the eclipse in October, there's a major eclipse in October. Then going into the winter season, it could be deadly. And then at the same time as Rama's, I'm not sure. He's hungry. He's begging for more food. If it's in the summertime, it could be absolutely deadly in Phoenix, Vegas, absolutely, where Cindy was in Death Valley. Water is not a human right. WF orders governments to begin rationing water into homes. Yeah, and again, they are unelected. But then again, I think people are waking up to the reality of elections, period. And of course, they don't view it's a natural, basic right. This is a joke. This is unfortunately a very sick joke, because the reality is that they view people as slaves. This is how you're not going to own anything. We own everything. So this is what the reality is. They don't think we have any basic rights, no entitlement to anything, even to just keeping ourselves alive. Nature provides everything in abundance, in absolute abundance. It's the system that limits it. Think about one seeded watermelon. How many watermelon plants can you get from one seeded watermelon? Probably several hundred. That's insane bounty. Insane bounty. But what do? They give us seedless watermelons. Why do they give us seedless watermelons? Oh, so we don't have the inconvenience of spitting out the seeds. And so we can't grow our own watermelons from the seeds that we are spitting out. And also so they could, genetically modify them. So you yourself are genetically modified.
Yeah, they've made it so obvious, and they're going to continue to do so. And it's up to us to really do what's so difficult. And in some cases, that means moving yourself to a place where you can better sustain yourself, or at least finding an area and working with people wherever you're at in your location. If you are, in a populated area, find people that are like-minded, because there's so many things that can be done in really stressful situations when you got the right minds working together.
And here we see Bill's farmland, we're talking about Gil Bates, that he bought is conveniently located over huge underground water reserves and rivers. And this is giving some figures and some, a diagram of where this is. Now, some of the comments there said that, I think that your map is inaccurate. Not me saying this. This is some people saying that they think the map is inaccurate. But you got to realize, too, that if it isn't Gil Bates, because they were thinking some of it is Ted Turner's, because he has bought a ton of land as well. This is going back to 2007. He had bought up to, 2 million acres plus. But what you have to realize is these are all part of the same players on the same team. Yeah, they have their own individual interests. They all want to be the top dog, so to speak. But this is talking about back in 2007, the fact that these land purchases are over a huge aquifer, one of the most important aquifers in North America. So, when we think about where Bill is located, again, this is in some of the same areas that we're talking about again, where the aquifer is, but also very, very, very rich soiled areas and very productive areas, and also areas, that have a good climate for growing typically. So you can see the locations. Yeah, it's part of a much, much bigger picture. And it is. Absolutely. It's Bill Gates. It's Ted Turner's of the world. Here you see an Illinois billionaire investing in thousands of acres of state farmland. We know the CCP was investing in tons of U.S. farmland as well. They're all working on the same team together. Sure, they will, obviously, just like the mafia bumping off each, its own family members. They all want to be top dog, but at the same time, they are working on the same agenda.
Mm-hmm. And they're not going to quit either. A lot of people think, well, I'll just send a petition here, or I'll just do that, or I'll pick up the phone and call my local legislator and put a stop to this. But really, the people are there just to take calls and file paperwork. It's not like this control structure can really be broken down.
No, but there is a separation coming, and we can choose where we're going to be with that separation. It has to separate because we are going to be, we who stay the organic natural route and are going to have our DNA reawakened to all new levels. We're going to find that we can't tolerate their technology. Their technology is going to break down around us. It does all the time. And I mean, Cindy when she was having her tooth issues, I can't tell you how many times she shut off circuit breakers, fried all their equipment, their computers reboot, because she's that incongruous to the technology. And it's the same thing as well with all of us that are awakening to varying degrees. At some point, we will be invulnerable to their technologies. They know this. We're going to rise above where their technologies can go. They want to catch you now. They want to control you in any way, shape, or form they possibly can. And, again, they're doing it through controlling the resources. Oh, you're thirsty. Too bad. We have so much water over here. Yeah. All you got to do is jump through this hoop. We'll make a nice little 400 square foot, if you're a really good servant, serf, slave, apartment for you in that nice little 15-minute city, which will eventually be known as a Cells City, because, again, the great reveal is, they might look human, but ultimately they're not really human. They look like a dorky guy next door. But the reality is something much, much darker. Oh, there are reasons we fear the night. The tomb of Bill. He's not one of them. Is he really one of us? Who is this guy? I mean, is he made purposely to look like Mr. Rogers? I think so. I think it's part of the, okay, Bill, you gotta get that sweater on. Okay. Yeah, those glasses are perfect. They make you look like a total dork. This is going to work just well. We don't want them really knowing who you really are there, Bill. No, yeah, that'll do. You're the guy next door. The creepy guy next door. The really creepy, nerdy guy next door. I mean, nothing against nerds. I love nerds. And I love people that have always been thought of as, on the fringe, on the outside looking in. When you think about it, those people that don't fit in, there's a real reason why we don't fit in with this world. It's because, this world it just doesn't resonate with us. There's something really that doesn't fit us. And again, for many of you, it could be that it's because you're not really originally from here.
Mm-hmm. Well, that and all of structure makes it so it is so difficult to fit into this world. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you. It's just because you're not gonna, square pegs don't fit in round holes, period. It's nothing to argue. There's nothing good nor bad about that. It just doesn't work. So as we've been trained, our innate abilities have been trained out of us, but we're still having to live in this 3D world. Boy, it can be frustrating. Oh my gosh. And it's rising more and more people are realizing really who they are and where they're from to a much higher degree. And as that truth comes out, you have to learn to shuffle and deal with your world in the 3D, but then also express yourself in a way so that you're not just sitting on all of these emotions and all of these abilities. Energy in motion. We have to express ourselves. And if you're one who has different beliefs and understandings, at the very least, journal them, and if you have to, tear it up, throw it away, burn it, whatever, but get those emotions out of your energy field.
So when we look and we see here a second tornado hit the same exact place in 4 years over in China, because again, we have to realize the Chinese people are manipulated like we are. The Russian people are manipulated like we are. Everybody is being manipulated. And until we realize that whole thing we're given as kids, stand up, children, say the Pledge of Allegiance now, each in their own country, pledging allegiance to each country, of which the borders are always changing and the wars always going on. What they're really doing is getting us to fight ourselves. And it's an ingenious, diabolical plan that has worked for a very long time. So, yeah, is it an act of God? Is it just strange weather patterns? Or is it just simply targeted? As you see here, another large, violent tornado. So everything that we're going through, they're going through too. They're feeling the economic pinch. They're feeling all the new restrictions, all the new technology. Because again, this is how the few control the many. They do the same techniques everywhere. And the people of the earth all suffer. Some have it better for a few generations than others in certain places, and then that'll all switch over again. So we have the warmest spring in Japan since record keeping began in 1898. And over here we see Greenland, impressive gains. So, again, snow and ice buildup over there. Bone-chilling lows grip northern India. Australia's record cold May. So, is it record cold or is it record heat? Is it global warming? Is it... It's all of the above, and it's whatever they want, wherever they want, is really the basic line.
So when times get scary and your very home and your comfortable spot is under threat from foreign invaders, just offer everybody to just all sleep on the same couch. Let's just be friends. Let's just get along. Or you can change your perspective and say, hey, somebody's going to be pulling on my bed and taking me for a ride, like this little puppy is taking the kitty for a ride, not trying to invade his bed. Perspective is important.
Yeah, it is totally perspective, because I look at this and I think this little puppy might be saying to his friend that doesn't understand that, there's targeted weather control going on and he's in a dangerous area. We got to get you out of that area. Or, hey, we got to get you guys waking up. Come in here, watch this video from Evolutionary Energy Arts, and wake up, guys. Wake up. You got to realize what's going on. We got to stop fighting each other. We got to band together, and we got to work towards a peaceful transition into a world that is no longer based on survival of the fittest and competition, because that's what gives them power. We need to understand we're part of something bigger. And when we work together, we are all stronger.
Exactly. We never want to necessarily look up to anyone. We never want to look down to anyone. You always want to look at people right in front of you so you can meet people wherever they're at.
As always, guys, thank you for your support over on Patreon and also on Ko-Fi. Much love. Source bless. Namaste.
Namaste.